I do know some widows or widowers, when they've got into a new relationship, what happens is, friends and family, they tend to say, why has he or she got into a new relationship? They shouldn't be. And that there's a sort of gossiping happening behind the scenes. So it's quite a difficult situation for that person as well, who wants to move on. And rightly so, they have the right to move on. However, a lot of times you may not get the support from your family and friends.
All right. Now, Petrina.
Yes, I'm ready.
Yes, Power Lady. Now, we've been going through the book review on Bulletproof Dating. I was just saying before the timeout, I don't know if you heard, that I had a friend I was able to share this information with that you've been telling us, because last week we spoke about, being a divorcee, getting into a relationship with children involved, etc. And I was able to have a really quality conversation with her because of the things that we're sharing from this book review. So look, that's what we shared last week. Take us to the promised land again, Power Lady.
Okay, so last week we shared about how to deal with relationships if you're either getting involved as a divorced person or dating someone who was divorced. And this week we're going to be covering those who have obviously lost a partner in terms of being a widow.
Yep.
Okay. So the difference, obviously, they've sort of like made it a bit of a joke that, normally when you go through a divorce or breakup, you really don't want your ex-partner to be around anymore.
Yeah.
Most of the time it ends badly, right? However, for the widow, it's slightly different. Most of the time they would be, missing the partner because the partner's left them. Okay. So it says a widowed person wishes their spouse was still alive, and a divorcee wishes that their ex would ... basically. They didn't want to
cease to exist. It's like just to be no more, like you never was on this earth with me.
So it says a widowed person has a sense of loss, longing and sadness most of the time, and that's why most of them choose not to marry again. So starting a relationship with a widowed person has the benefit of not having to deal with an ex. However, because the person is still missing, may still be missing their ex-spouse, then the person may not have totally gotten over the death of the spouse.
Yeah.
So you need to give the widowed person the time to actually get ready for a new relationship, and that time can vary from person to person.
Wow, that's quite interesting. And if we're talking about a widow, generally they're more advanced in age, right? At the prime of life. Generally, there could be other circumstances, but feelings, human feelings are. This is something that we have to navigate, especially when it comes to love life. Absolutely, and be tactful.
May I say something?
Yeah,
my mother. She got widowed with 28 years.
So,
whoa, wait 1 second, Petrina. Wait, so Captain Hugo's saying that your mother was a widow at 28 years old?
Yeah, with 3 kids.
Wow.
And she never married again.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Shops closed.
I was 6. I'm the older.
Whoa. And she was happy. She was happy with her life. She was happy just looking after the children.
Yeah, it was financially okay because my father was working on the bank, so he got a very good pension and stuff.
Wow.
But anyway, she took care of us like proper.
Wow. So there you go, Petrina. Yeah, you're right. You're dropping it like it's hot. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. Yeah. Very young to be a widow.
Yeah.
But well done for her, managing to bring up the children on her own as well.
Powerful.
Yeah, powerful. So it says some widows or widowers may feel bad for, inverted commas, cheating on their deceased spouse by starting a new relationship. And that's very true, because I know that I do know some widows or widowers. When they've got into a new relationship, what happens is, friends and family, they tend to say, why has he or she got in the new relationship? They shouldn't be. And that there's a sort of gossiping happening behind the scenes. So it's quite a difficult situation for that person as well, who wants to move on. And rightly so, they have the right to move on. However, a lot of times you may not get the support from your family and friends.
That's true. That's why it's important to get our own information, and we really have to work to be strong in ourselves and our choices, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because people looking from outside in can judge us and judge a situation and be completely wrong. They don't know the technicalities of what's happening. People have, and communities can have certain taboos in their belief system. But what you're saying is there are people who are widowed, but guess what? They've healed and they want to move on. They want to, I'm still here. What do you want? Do you want me to kick the bucket now and just leave this earth? Right? But they want to, and that's healthy. That's healthy. There's nothing wrong with that. I believe there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So it says comparisons are inevitable. So what happens is the widowed person, or even the family and friends, may draw comparisons to the late spouse, and their current companion may feel below expectations. So this is really a challenging one. So ideally, you should start a new relationship and leave the previous one where it belongs, that is in the past.
Gotcha.
So if the deceased makes regular appearances in the widow's conversations, even while you're dating, it's a sign that he or she is not ready for a new relationship.
That's a good point.
And the memory and sporadic conversations are not the problem, but his or her inability to stop talking about the person is.
It's true. I mean, it's understandable that the person who's a widow will bring up the past relationship because it was a huge part of their life, right? It was a huge part of their growth, their development. However, if you're getting into the relationship with that person, you're kind of looking for signs to why? Because you want to reduce collateral. You want to reduce problems. You want to try to control and manage a situation, isn't it? And if you're seeing that it's too much, too overboard, and that could be like a red light flashing. That's what you're saying.
Yes, and this also applies to those who have obviously broken off or divorced as well. It's not having to compare the new person to the ex.
Wow, that's I would hate that. I would hate to get into a relationship with someone and they keep comparing me to someone that I don't even know.
Exactly.
Right? That would make me feel like, and I could see where the problems would come. As a guy, if a lady kept doing that, I'd be like, look, you need time by yourself. You need to resolve this, please, because I can't build nothing with you because it's like you're half in and half out, right? You're still, your thoughts are still somewhere else, right? Instead of building with me today. So I get it. That makes sense to me. I mean, guys, what do you think? Breakfast Show Talkers, tell us your thoughts in the live chat. Yeah, go ahead, Petrina.
Yes, so for the person who's dating a person who's lost a spouse, the advice is not to try to compete or be the substitute for the person who has died. So that's important for you to bear in mind as well if you're on that side of the...
Don't be a substitute for the person that's passed away. Wow, that's true. That's a fantastic mindset. That's an amazing way to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we always say that you are your own individual person. You shouldn't try to replace someone else, basically.
Absolutely. We're writing our own story, so stop with these things, please.
Yeah. Now the next point is really important to bear in mind. Whoever marries or gets involved with someone who is a widow, they will find themselves among three families overnight. So it's basically your family, their family, and the ex's family. So be understanding for this contact can be very important and even healthy for your spouse.
That's true.
So similarly as well, when when you have children from different and from a different relationship, then you will be finding yourself in that three different family scenario as well.
Yeah, we don't. When we, I'm obviously I'm not. I'm still. I haven't been long on the earth, so to speak. But and I haven't. Obviously, because I'm married young, I haven't been in different types of scenarios. But I'm just going off my thoughts. I can imagine that we don't normally consider that, right? We don't normally think about that. That normally catches us off guard. Where I can imagine a person being caught off guard in the moment. They're focused on the individual. They're focused on their attraction on this individual, but they don't look and foresee what's happening behind the individual, the family that's involved, the history that's involved, and we can lose sight of that and get caught off guard and see it as, whoa, this is a problem. But no, if you're dating someone, it's to find out about all that history, isn't it? And not be caught by surprise.
Yeah. And I do know also for certain cultures, it's still the culture to live in the same house after you've got married. Yeah. But that really makes things very complicated because you've got the parents, the family.
That doesn't work.
And everyone will be trying to give you advice, or when you get an argument, who would you side? Would it be your mom or your dad or your spouse? That's a big question, or your children. I'm
telling you, there was a time, I know that experience. Because there was a time like we was transitioning, and we stayed a little bit at our relatives, right? But I was really young. And it's like, oh, come, mwah, come, yes. My friend, after week one, everyone looks at you with different eyes. Isn't it, right?
It's a trap.
It's a trap. Yeah. It's a trap. Hugo says, everyone starts looking at you with different eyes. And what? No, why are you still here? You know what I mean? But I remember when I was in that situation, we wasn't there long, but that was enough extra power for me to jump onto the property ladder. That was it. That was the reform. I went and bought a property. Solved the problem. Yeah. Oh gosh, that was amazing times. But I can see how that works. We have to think about that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and the thing is, I remember my brother when he got married. He actually told me this much later. He didn't admit it that time. He said when he got married, he actually, and I know for that for a fact, he actually rented for a while because he said, to live with the parents is going to be a disaster for the relationship.
Yeah, so, absolutely. It doesn't work. It doesn't feel, look, because we was renting. Then then after that, what happened is we had some changes take place for a little bit, so we had to do a little bit of a stop off, and it wasn't long, but you just don't feel free. It's not easy. No. It's not easy, but there are cultures that's normal. You were saying.
Yeah, it is. And I think also what happens is, especially if you're living with your parents when you have got your spouse, is the parents somehow will always compare and say, no one is good enough for my daughter or my son. And they'll always be finding fault with the daughter or the son-in-law. And that's what the problem is.
Yeah, that's that's why this Bulletproof Dating book is so important. Because I don't like TV sitcoms, right? But there are things that happen in there, and it's like situation with the family, and it's like, you think? Yeah. You didn't know. You didn't know that, this is her, this is the dad's girl. You want to date them, or you try to skip the dating period and get into a more intimate relationship, and then you find out he doesn't like you, or you feel like, you know what I mean? That's why the dating part is so relevant, so important, where we're communicating words to get a clear picture of what's behind the individual. You can't skip that part. This is so important. My goodness, if my father-in-law was not on my side, I mean, sometimes he brings things up, like he in the moment of his moments, he wants to be like the king. Yeah. He brings things up. Obviously, I know how to navigate him, but if he was always like, against me like that, on that, it wouldn't be comfortable. It wouldn't be nice at all.
No, it wouldn't be. Yeah. So this is why I always say, when someone gets married, I know a lot of people, they tend to overspend on the wedding day itself. However, what my recommendations would be to save up to actually get your own place.
Yeah.
Rather than spend all the money on just that one day and then be in debt, and then you have to end up living with the parents.
Yeah.
Which will be quite difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Absolutely. I mean, check this out. I mean, how much do people spend on a wedding day? You know that. I mean, and literally, you could be literally living rent free for ages. You know what I mean? You could if you took that money.
It could be a deposit on a house.
It could be a deposit on a house. It's true. It's really, really true. But most people just want what they desire and they want what they want. And this is the challenge. People don't, sometimes we don't think things through properly.
Yeah. So that comes to the end of the chapter, and it basically says that we hope the message for you who are single and who have never gone through a divorce is very clear. Do your best to get it right first time. This is why they said this chapter, although it was addressed to divorcees and those who are widowed, is applicable to the ones who are single.
Yeah.
Because you need to learn from those who have actually, gone that way and probably made the mistakes, and not to repeat them as well in your relationship.
Yeah. Wow, that's absolutely phenomenal. All right, guys. So look, I think this has been even though I've God forbid I'll have to deal with divorce or anything like that, be it far. But this is a great insight, and I think it just kind of emphasizes the importance of the dating period. It gives more value to it, and you've actually made us see the complications that can happen later on. Do you know what I mean? And what's behind. And I think the thing about dating is that we need to go in with the question of not just being attracted to the person or how nice the person is, or how the character person is, but understand that there's a lot behind that person. There's culture behind that person. There's maybe some trauma of the past that they healed from today, but it existed there. There's relatives, there's, and literally, like when I was marrying my wife, I wasn't so, I mean, I was 21, but I wasn't so concerned about the family. I was focused on her and who she was. But only when we got married did I see how a powerful component the family is. How powerful it is, and it could easily been not in my favor at the same time, and sometimes we can be a bit arrogant where it's like, what, I'm gonna take her and marry her, she's mine, and we can, we could be a bit arrogant in that sense because we're boisterous, we're in faithful, whichever, you know what I mean? We'd be like, it's me and you against the world. But why put yourself in that situation? Find out, do the due diligence, make sure that you know what's happening behind that person, all that stuff behind, and we can avoid a lot of stuff, and avoid hopefully divorces and having to remarry. And if in later on years we do have to remarry, what you shared with us allows us to see, dating is so valuable. Let's see what's happening behind that person.
And it's really interesting. You said you got married when you're in your 20s, right?
Yeah.
But you need to remember that you and your wife, if you hadn't met as childhood friends, for example, you would have grown up for at least 20 years in a different environment.
That's true.
So you need to take that into account as well.
Whoa, that is so true.
Yeah.
Because we met like where we're developing our personalities, right?
Exactly.
And we was in the same environment. But you'll normally connect with someone that's in your environment, unless it's like you and Ronald, where you meet in a ship at sea, right? All right. Yeah. But generally, the person that I haven't seen the statistics, but generally, the person that you can join your life with can generally be not far in your circle. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Generally.
No, what I was trying to say is that, for at least 20 years, both of you would have been brought up in different families, basically. Yeah. And you might be in the same environment, but whatever happens in the household, that, the way they've been brought up, it's different from what has happened to you.
Oh, yeah.
And you need to actually learn to merge that together.
That's true. That's very true. Wow. Thank you so much, Petrina, for what you shared with us today. That was absolutely
You're welcome.
phenomenal. I'm sure it's helping a lot of people to navigate this minefield of dating and dating well. Connect online Monday to Friday with special guests for inspiration, motivation to start your morning right. Music, banter, fun and laughter. Connect when you start your mornings with The Breakfast Show. Only on libertyradio.co.uk. That's right, The Breakfast Show is back. libertyradio.co.uk from 6:30 a.m.